Can you respond to the criticism that this isn't music or this is just noise?
I don't know. If you don't hear a melody, listen harder because there probably is a melody there.
That was a track called Jig Number One. That's DZIG number one by Mat Muntz off of his album from 2023 called Phantom Islands. And I came across this song through a Spotify recommendation and it just blew my mind. And I've shared it through our first playlist video, which just really went bonkers in terms of traffic, 75,000 views or something. And I had the four weirdest songs right up front on the playlist. And I don't remember if this was the first one or maybe the second one, but it certainly turned off a lot of people and led to several people asking, what is this? Is this music? What is going on? So we have the composer here, Mat Muntz. Matt is in Portugal right now, I believe. Matt, thank you for joining.
Croatia, actually.
Oh, Croatia. In Dubrovnik?
No, I'm close to Rijeka, up north.
Nice, over
Close to
by the
Italy.
Bosnian border, right?
No, no, by the Italian
Oh, the
border, actually.
Italian border. Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much for joining. That piece of music is just unbelievable, and I think when people hear it, they just don't even know what to do. For me, it's like listening to Henry Cow. I don't know if you ever listened to Henry Cow, but it seems like you must have.
Oh, actually, I actually haven't.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes this even more interesting. All right, tell us about this piece and the composition. Where did it come from? And maybe a little about yourself.
Yeah. So, my story is that I'm a jazz bassist originally. I went to school for that. I was living in New York for several years, and while I was there, I met my now wife, whose name is Astrid Kulinic, and she's from Croatia. And I started coming here with her in the summers. Her family is from this beautiful island called Cres, which is the biggest island in Croatia. It's up in the north, and they have this really peculiar musical tradition here with this strange instrument you would have heard on the track. It's actually a bagpipe, which they call the mech or mich here. And Astrid's cousin plays it, and I heard him playing it, and it's totally like a traditional instrument is considered just sort of like a normal folk thing here, but to my ears, and I think to most people's ears who are used to Western music and equal tempered intonation, it sounds very strange. It's basically like this kind of microtonal diminished sound. And people play like that, people will sing like that, people will dance very cheerfully to to these kinds of sounds. Like like old ladies, after church will go and dance to this what sounds like to me like devil music, right? So it it really intrigued me, and I was like, I need to play this. And
So is
so I,
this, sorry to interrupt, is this
yeah.
song, what we just heard, in alignment with what is typically heard in this area, or did you kind of twist it to your own, mechanisms?
Yeah, it's definitely twisted. The rhythm is basically sort of a combination of like Irish music and Bulgarian music, because there's this kind of 9/8 feel which you would have in Bulgarian music, but then you also have this type of jig in Irish music called a slip jig, which you can and I kind of put them on top of each other. Um, so the rhythm is not really how it would, not really reflective of the music here. They don't really have odd meter stuff like in the rest of the Balkans. It's more, the rhythm is more simple here, but the way I'm playing and kind of the intervals and stuff on the bagpipe itself is all very idiomatic. I'm not really using any kind of extended technique. But what is weird is the way that it's arranged with the whole ensemble. And this might be another thing that sounds strange to people, because the bagpipe, it's in this very specific tuning, a specific microtonal tuning, which usually cannot be combined with Western instruments, right? And so, in order to do that, I had to take the guitar and retune all the strings so that it's in a it's in basically a subset of a just intonation tuning. And I realized that, and this is basically a total coincidence with my particular instrument that I have, is that I can do this thing on the guitar, and then I can harmonize the bagpipe in a way by having these chords with lots of open strings, kind of like you would hear in like old blues recordings. And so I had Alec Goldfarb, the guitarist, on the recording do that. And then by doing that, the horn players, it's a saxophone, clarinet, and oboe, could kind of like fit into the tuning via the guitar. and it makes it all work, but it sounds weird. I agree.
You said you played the bagpipe instrument?
Yes. Yeah. I started playing it about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay. And I'm guessing you don't have one with you to show.
Man, I thought I did, but I left it like downstairs. I wish I left it somewhere. I meant to have it.
If you want to go run and get it, you can do that. If
I
it's
might do that.
yeah, go get it.
Yeah. All right. I got it. It's in my special bag here. And yeah, this is what it looks like. It's made out of a sheepskin. Very soft and nice. And you can
Wow.
see here, this is the pipe or the chanter.
Is that a bone?
No, it's wood. So it's made out of wood, olive wood, I think, and a
Oh, it's
sheepskin.
olive wood. That's why it looks like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so this is the chanter. I have two reeds in it. So basically, the way it works is that whenever I play, it's in harmony because I've got two pipes inside of here. You can see.
So the holes on each side change each reed's sound.
Yeah,
The
exactly. It's like if I had two things in my mouth. Like if you see
like Van der Graaf generator with two saxophones at the same time.
exactly, yeah. Or like if you see like on ancient Greek pottery, like the people playing the two flutes at the same time, I think this is actually descended from those kinds of instruments.
Fascinating. Can we
Yeah.
hear it? Is it too much to set up?
No, I can do it.
Cool.
I mean
So it's just the bag and that flute?
yeah, it's like yeah, they call it the chanter or in the Croatian here they call it Miješnica or Šurlica, like the pipe thing, the thing you play on.
That's so wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if I just blew out your headphones.
That I had to turn down the channel volume, but holy cow, that's incredible. You
Yeah,
said it's the bladder is made of sheepskin? Is that what
yeah,
it's
it's a
called?
sheep
A bladder?
bag.
A bag?
So you can
Wow.
see the little like little hairs on it. You can kind of see there, and yeah, it's really like an animal. Yeah,
Totally organic.
yeah, not vegan. Although
Right.
you could make a synthetic one.
Sure. Okay, so I I think the mechanics are pretty straightforward, but you fill the bag with air.
Yeah,
You use your elbow to kind of consistently push air through the reeds,
mhm.
and whereas a saxophone, the reed, oh, actually, it's the same kind of mechanic, isn't it? The reed
Yeah,
goes through the sax itself, and then the pads get depressed and change the sound or the length of the tube, basically. And so, were there two holes, one for each reed at the bottom of the pipe, or
yeah,
was it one hole?
so it's basically two pipes that are kind of drilled into the same piece of wood. And
Wow.
yeah, and it is basically it's the same mechanism as any other wind instrument with a reed, but the difference is that with a saxophone or a clarinet, like your mouth would be on the reed, so you can do articulations and kind of subtle shaping with the lip. But here in any bagpipe, your mouth has no contact with the reeds because they're on the other end of the bag. So there's basically no articulation actually. All the articulation is in the fingers. So especially for like Bulgarian music and Bulgarian bagpipes and Scottish bagpipes, they have these really intricate systems of ornamentation to basically create the illusion of articulation.
That's truly amazing. I love the sound of it. The track is really beautiful. But you have to kind of have the ears to hear it, you know. I feel
Yeah.
like once you can get past the oh this is very very different for my ears, and once you kind of like adapt to that little context, it's very engaging, enjoyable, you know. And I know it's called jig. It is like a dance piece. I think it's really wonderful. How did your Western musicians, you know, adapt to it? What was the process like going from, okay, guys, I'm going to play this to you're going to tune, or I'm going to tune your guitar like this to you're going to add these horns on top of this. And the guitar is kind of the bridge between these two worlds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky to be able to work with really great musicians who are kind of as deranged about this kind of stuff as I am and willing to do weird stuff. Actually, I think the guitar tuning was actually Alec came up with that first because he's a great guitarist and composer who works a lot with microtonal music. And so he, I think, was the one who told me, he's like, oh, hey, if I tune my strings like this, then I get this beautiful just intonation sound. And then I realized kind of, I had a guitar with me on the island and I was like, I wonder like what would happen if I did this. And then I realized that it would fit perfectly with the bagpipe. And and all the horn players too are just down to do weird stuff. So it wasn't that hard. I didn't have to really convince anybody to do something they didn't want to do.
The most popular comment on my playlist video featuring your song is your clarinetist.
I saw this today, yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. He said, what can you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Yuma Uesaka.
Okay, so Yuma wrote clarinetist on Mat Muntz's record here. Matt, myself, and everyone involved in that project are part of the scene here where we make weird music to a usually small crowd. Even for this project, the one show we played probably had a single digit band to audience size ratio. I appreciate you taking the time to curate and amplify this music to reach a wider audience. Excited to check out the rest. Now, I don't bring that up to, you know, mock anyone or anything, but this is certainly not music for normal Western adjusted ears.
Well, in my defense, it was during COVID, and I'm pretty sure the venue had like a very small number of. I think they only sold like 15 tickets or something. So I think it was technically a sold out show.
All right, I love that. That was great.
I don't know how many people, we actually turned away at the door.
Right, right. Okay, let's take a look at the second track. It's called Three Mirages. Actually, let's go to the last one. It's a bit shorter, so people can get more of a sense of it. It's called Obokuri. Anything that you want to share before we take a listen?
Yeah, so this is actually a cover of a traditional song from the Amami Islands, which are south of Japan, kind of between Japan and Okinawa. And I learned this from a recording by this really great singer named Ikue Asazaki. And people might know it as kind of, I think it's her most famous song. She does it with a piano, and it's very beautiful. And I was just messing around on the bagpipe, and I realized, oh, hey, I can play all these notes, which is sort of always a surprise because I have a weird set of notes, right? So this I started playing it when I was kind of first doing my research with the bagpipe a few years ago when I was first learning it. I was on the island and I was making a bunch of solo recordings in different places. And because this song is also from an island, and actually the lyrics of it, I looked at the translation, is very similar to a lot of the songs from this island, which is basically about how much it sucks to live on an island with no food, like and how poor people are. That's kind of a theme, a recurring theme, right? And but I was recording it like in the water. I would like stand almost in the water with the mic right there and record with the waves. And so this one is a duo between me and the drummer Michael Larocca, and I kind of wanted to channel sort of like a John Coltrane, Rashid Ali, Interstellar Space vibe on this. So yeah.
Wow, awesome. Real quick, I keep hearing some sort of like jingling sound or something on your
Oh,
end.
that's a cicada outside. Let me
You can
make
just mute
sure.
your mic in the meantime,
Yeah.
and I'll play the track.
Cool.
That was awesome. I'm so cool. So cool. You said you recorded it while kind of standing in the water, so I imagine the drummer in the room was responding to the recording of this piece.
Well, no, actually, we this on the record we did it live. So originally, like I made recordings a few years earlier, like solo, and so I was kind of channeling that. But no, we did it in a studio.
Oh,
Yeah, this was important.
okay.
Um, yeah.
Tell us what's going on. Like, obviously, there's some improvisational elements here, and you said this is a cover of or it's at least inspired by another song. Like, what is going on here in your mind when you're playing?
Um, yeah, good question. This was sort of a last minute addition to the album. I had kind of spent the summer composing the other tracks, and this was always just something I was playing on my own. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. Um, and then just like the day before the recording session, I just texted Michael, the drummer, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do some kind of a duo? I'm just not going to tell you what it is." And he's like, "Yes." And so we just did this. We did two takes of it, and that was it. And yeah, and I just kind of wanted to capture this really spontaneous improvisational energy because I felt like a lot of, I mean, the rest, there's a lot of improvisation in the rest of the music, but for me, it was stuff that I had kind of worked out over months. I had thought a lot about all these decisions and stuff, and I just wanted to do something with this kind of energy. And as far as what's going through my mind when I'm playing it, I don't know. I just think this melody is really evocative, and I kind of wanted to channel the vibe of kind of the classic era of like 60s free jazz when people were kind of playing these like folk-like melodies, like people like Albert Ayler or John Coltrane, and kind of using these simple, um, catchy things as a point of departure to go off into other things. And I thought that it would be a good way to showcase some of the other aspects of the bagpipe, like some of these high difference tone beating things, which don't really fit into the intonational scheme of the rest of the music. So I just kind of wanted to go wild a little bit.
Can you respond to the criticism that uh this like because people are saying this in the comments like this isn't music or this is just noise or there's no rhythm to it or whatever. Like you're clearly an educated and experienced musician. In fact, I think somebody said, why would someone make music that doesn't have maybe it was like a melody, but you're channeling a melody. Like what do you say when you see these kinds of messages, because obviously you're an educated musician and I'm sure you're very, very capable of playing, normal stuff on Western instruments or for Westernized ears.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say to people who say, "Oh, there's no melody," like this is a common critique I hear, not just for my music, but in general. I think I don't know if you don't hear a melody, listen harder because there probably is a melody there, even if it's you know, I don't know. You listen, like for instance, like if you listen to like West African drum music where there's no pitched instrument, it's just drums. I mean, I hear tons of melodies. I hear more melodies than I do in I don't know, an opera aria or something. It's just a different way of thinking about it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't take it personally or whatever if people don't hear it. And for me, I mean, I get it. Sometimes I don't want to listen to this. It's a lot. I think I understand more the criticism, like, oh wow, this sound is so intense. This timbre is so harsh and in my face. I can't handle this, as opposed to there's no melody, because I think there's kind of all I can do on this instrument is melody. It's like a fundamentally a melodic instrument, right? Um,
I love
yeah.
what you said there. Like, if you can't hear the melody, listen harder. Like it's on you and your ears as the listener. And that's something, I mean, when you run a channel called Make Weird Music, you get a lot of stuff, right? A lot of people send you things. And I used to think like, it's not very good. Like I would hear music and I'd go, oh, it's not very good. Now, certainly there's stuff that's just not that good. Like people need more practice. It's not recorded well. It's not a good composition. Like it's missing a lot of the elements because they're too early in their recording journey. But there are people who are like really amazing at what they do. And I've just learned like basically it comes down to two types of music. Like once you've surpassed sort of the amateur realm, and it's either music I like or music I don't yet understand. And so when I think about what you just said with listen harder, I would challenge people, like somebody who invested a lot of time and energy and money to get something recorded and released, they found something in it. And that kind of drives me crazy when people are like, I listen to everything but country and rap or whatever. It's like, well, that stuff's music too,
And also they're 100%, they don't listen to everything but country and rap.
That's
Like I
true.
could show them stuff that would curdle their blood, that's not country or rap.
Do you, when you're writing these kinds of pieces, is that something you keep in mind? Or are you just kind of like uh, innocently exploring, you know, timbre and rhythm, whatever? Or are you like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to provoke this type of reaction?
No, I don't, I don't think I'm like I don't think I'm smart enough in that kind of way. Like I feel like I don't understand how people react to things good enough, so I don't really try to anticipate it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is, I guess you could call it innocent. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to explore stuff. I mean, even the fact that I'm playing this instrument is kind of strange. Like if I was, I mean, when I was 18, when I started, when I went to music school, I moved to New York to play jazz bass. I don't think I ever imagined that, within 10 years I'd be doing this, right? Um, so it's really, I mean, maybe it's a smart career move, right? Because I've gotten to this niche that no one else does, but I didn't think of it like that. And I mean, and it probably isn't, honestly. I could probably make more money just, being a jazz bassist, right? But
What does your wife
yeah.
and her family think of the music? Do they
Um,
appreciate what you're doing with this traditional instrument?
Yeah, people like that I'm playing it. I think because I'm a foreigner here, because I'm American, I can kind of get away with it. I think people, if you grow up here and you play this, it's more like you should play the tradition very strictly. Um, but I run into people here and they're like, "Oh man, that's cool." Like, I mean, mostly they're confused, like, "Why is this American doing this?" But then they're like, "Okay, yeah, that's cool." So, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's wrap up. If you want to learn more about Matt, you can go to his website here, matmuntz.com. And if you want to buy his music, go to matmuntz.bandcamp.com. That's MATMUNTZ. Um, it's really great. This Phantom Islands album, it just opened my ears to so many new kinds of things. And Matt mentioned like drumming music from Africa. Like the drummers of Burundi have several amazing albums that you should check out. Some even on Peter Gabriel's Real World label. Anyway, if I could take one thing away from this discussion, it's listen harder, and I love that advice. There's something in lots of music that we just, if we grow up listening to Paul Simon and Jim Croce and these kinds of things, we're not going to learn to appreciate the music off of islands of Croatia. So uh, go buy this Mat Muntz record, Phantom Islands. It's so good, and just listen to it a few times. Henry Cowell's album Western Culture did this to me as well. I didn't get it. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was trash. And although, like, I loved Matt's record as soon as I heard it, but largely I think because I'd already opened my ears to Henry Cowell's Western Culture. So, Matt,
Yeah,
I
you
also
put the work.
yeah, I recommend you check out that album too.
I will. I will.
I made a video about it because it just made my jaw drop the first time I heard it, and it still does today. It's incredible. All right, thanks again, Matt. I really appreciate you joining. Let's close with I'm just going to randomly put the playhead somewhere on the second track of Phantom Islands. The track's called Three Mirages, Small Town Blues. Thanks again.